Well, looks like I'm live. Just waiting to see if it appears in the on YouTube Live. On this stupid thing. Here we go. We're up. Welcome to Friday Fandemonia. I'm your Crown Prince of Fandemonia, bringing you over 9,000 whatevers of content. Uh, this is Friday. It's December 8th. I have Dempsey already out there. Welcome to the show, man. Hopefully, we get anyone else. I'm also later on if depending on when this goes, I'll share the link if anyone wants to pop on and talk about stuff. So what do I got? Before I get into what my planned content is, I'll give it maybe to 3:05 to see if anyone else appears, so we don't waste stuff. But I will do a little preview. Now I had hoped that at least one of these would have been here last week, so I didn't, because otherwise this is going to be a lot of comic books to talk about. Okay. So this show might run to an hour and a half instead of an hour, but so there's quite a bit, and I'll talk about that, my thoughts on stuff later. So it's kind of funny. Like, okay, there's one watching, which is Dempsey, but there should be two because Dempsey and I should both be watching. Anyway, so how are you doing out there, Dempsey? How's the weather where you are? So we'll see. I'm just doing a little audio test while we wait to see if anyone else pops in. I should hear myself talking soon. Yep. 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 Okay. So what I'm doing to make this my life convenient, matter of fact, I'll actually show you. We'll do a little IT start. Present, share screen, window. So you can see picture in picture, right? So a modern feature of browsers is you can mute and unmute. Well, New Jersey, I'm doing good. New Jersey is like you're getting Inception going on there. It's kind of funny, but New Jersey is like how far are we going to Incept? It's kind of let's skip away from that. Okay, so on web, let me finish what I was talking about, Dempsey, and I'll get back to your comment. Um, you can now mute tabs. I don't know if you'll see this yet, but like no, it's not going to pop up. Well, if you right click on it and the little right click window won't pop up, you can choose mute tab. Like matter of fact, and when it happens, you'll get a little volume thing. You can see I'm linking to there. See, it says this tab ought to be muted. So you could be playing the window, playing YouTube in the window, like so you can have see if your content's going out there, but mute it so you don't get the double audio drag, so to speak. That's the gist of what I was sharing there. Right. Okay. Anyway, so like I was saying, Dempsey, New Jersey weather. Today I think it's 50 degrees, going to go up to 55. Yesterday it was snow flurries and down, and the high was like 37 or something. New Jersey has flip flop weather. We can get a blizzard one week and 70s the next in winter. It's all crazy. Okay, so it's 3:04. So what I will do first is I will hit my first article, all right, which is really two articles, and then that'll get me to 310 or so, and then I'll start doing the comic book unboxing. Okay. So what I want to talk about first. Let's see here. Present. Share screen. Here we go. So I'm a big fan of the Mad Max films and George Miller's universe. Well, the Ohio weather. Yeah, Ohio. Well, I think if you look at the map, let's take a look at the map. As a matter of fact, map of United States. So if we take a look at the map and you see where New Jersey is, like right here, and you beam over to where Ohio is, like right here. I don't know if you can see the mouse moving or not. Yeah, you could. Okay. We're at the same longitude. Um, we're at the same I never remember between latitude and longitude. Let's I believe latitude. No, yeah, it's longitude. Okay. So New Jersey and Ohio are at the same longitude, and the way the jet stream sort of works is like this. See the mouse I'm going over? Although it's more like this, like a bubbles. And so Ohio and New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania will tend to get similar weather. Um, so like when you guys get a snowstorm, if the jet stream keeps the same bubble, that moisture will be snow where we are a week later, so to speak. Where if you guys get a rainstorm and all of a sudden the bubble moves instead of being like this over you and then like that over me to where the dip is over us, that rainstorm which was in your concave bubble becomes snow for us. Yep. Yeah. Well, you got to remember that the Earth is curved. Let me make me big so I can show you. The Earth isn't just curved this way, like this way. It isn't just curved this way. It's it's curved all the way, right? In other words, the Earth is an oblate spheroid. Space time is it distorts space time around it, and with pressurized gravity, and it becomes it's like if you took a ball, which I don't have one handy, squished it down so that the equator squished out all around, and it's curved constantly until the peak at the um if you turn the pumpkin on its side, because there is an almost uniformity at the equator, so to speak, in terms of depth, in terms of the radius from the center, right? But yeah, but and more like made of molten iron and molten rock is its primary is the largest chunk of material on the Earth. But anyway, okay, excuse me. So let's go back to what I was going to talk about, which was Mad Max. Since we still only got Dempsey. Dempsey's like a good audience, so I'm a big fan of George Miller's Legendarium, the Mad Max universe, and the way this universe works. A lot of people don't understand because they didn't listen to Miller talk about it, they just watched the movies, right? And it's not readily apparent in the movies unless you think about why certain like anyway. Before I get to that, um, each of the Mad Max movies, less so the first, but because he was still figuring it out, they're not like meant to be viewed like the way we might view John Wick or you know, Commando or at Jurassic Park or whatever, where we're like riding right next to it in a camera, seeing what's really going on. They're all stories, myths, basically legends that are being told decades later after the apocalypse is fading, right? And people are recovering, and all these people are saying there was this guy named Max who was traveling around the wasteland helping people. He had a tragedy. It was the first film with family, and instead of succumbing to it, he eventually became a hero who started helping people. And oh yeah, my parents met Max over there, and when he did that, Max climbed a mountain, even though one arm was broke. He free climbed the mountain, and it's like the Legends of Hercules. So and that is the answer to your question of how things always work out for Max in the movies. Like, for example, in The Road Warrior, there's a scene where he leaves the town to go find something, and he like within a minute he finds that truck that left before, and the truck just happens to have just what he needs. Even though they've been sending trucks out like that for a while. Or in Mad Max 4, Fury Road, he literally has what seems to be like gallons of blood removed from his body, suffers no apparent harm, is in a car accident where he flips over, has a car land on him, no apparent harm, because he's a legend of a superhero, a mythological figure. At the end of Mad Max 3, Beyond Thunderdome, why does Anti-Entity grin at him and just ride away? Because in the story, the little kid telling, because it's the little kid and the pilot who are telling it in the future, Max lived, because other stories of Max occurred later. So they can't say, well, Anthony came and killed Max out of revenge, because that doesn't work. Max always lives in the stories, so they just write away because they respect Max the way you would respect the hero in the story, right? So that brings us to this movie, Furiosa, which is going to be another legend in the legendarium, or another myth in the legendarium of 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 the Mad Max legendarium. And I'm even like, there are people who argue over the quality of the third or the fourth one versus the first and second one. I mean, I view the Road Warrior is the best story, which is Mad Max 2, right? But Fury Road is the best put together film, especially if you can see the chrome edition of it, the black and white. It makes it very stark. Um, but to me, the fascinating thing is the mythology he creates. Like for example, for those who don't know about Fury Road, he drew heavily on Norse mythology for it. Immortan Joe is Odin, or an an SB, right? Odin. What does Odin's name mean, by the way? For those who never really studied the Norse mythology, Odin. People have a sort of benevolent image of Odin from comic book stories. Odin, older Marvel comics get him more right than the newer ones. Odin's name literally means the fury of battle, or the berserker in battle. The berserkers, the bear warrior berserkers, were followers of Odin. When to get into every one of the Norse gods, like, they all live in Asgard, all right, but every one of them has like a special part of Asgard, right? Odin's is Valhalla, the halls of Valhalla. Thor's hall, I forgot Thor's hall's name, but Thor's hall, and Freya's hall, and all that. To get into that bear shirt, yeah. Um, um, to get into like Valhalla, Odin isn't recruiting the nicest guys. Okay, there's out of the Icelandic sagas, there's a story of this king, Eric something, and I think it was Eric, and he came to power by axe murdering his family and his rivals, and became a king. And when he dies, Odin welcomed him to Valhalla and said, with open arms. There's a famous end quote of it where he's like, you know, I've been waiting for someone as mean and nasty as you, because the warriors of Valhalla, the Einherjar, aren't nice guys, honorable warriors. Those tend to go to Thor or Tyr's hall. Um, Odin's job is to prevent Ragnarok, to prevent the frost giants and the creatures of horror, and the endless cold from overtaking Asgard and Midgard. Right. Yep. And yeah. Uh, so Odin's a pretty, like when you're a Viking and you're calling on Odin in battle, you really don't want to be calling Odin in battle unless there's nothing left. Because if Odin shows up at the battlefield, yeah, he'll take out your enemy. But in the process of doing it, he'll go into a berserk fury and maybe kill half of your army too. He's a relentless, all-out war. Like, and if you call upon Odin for a stupid reason, Odin could just kill you. Um, Sort of. It's a little complicated, Dempsey. I mean, you know what? I should probably, I should make, because it's 313, and well, you know what? No one else yet. So we'll go to 315 with the North stuff. Um, yeah. Anyway, it's a little complicated, Dempsey. Like, because the Christian version, like, yes, See, the thing is, we don't actually know all of Germanic. Norse mythology is the remnants of Proto-Germanic mythology, right? And they, like the Celts, they were an oral culture, so we lost most of it, right? That's why Tolkien, for example, the Angles and the Saxons are Germanic peoples. Their core mythology, legendarium, was lost. Tolkien decided to make Lord of the Rings legendarium as a sort of fictional version of that to replace what was lost, right? So the only remnants of Proto-Germanic mythology was the stuff that made it to the Scandinavians in the Viking Age, and the only people who recorded it in the 9th and 10th century, Saxo Grammaticus, who was a Christian scholar. Yeah, and I'll get to that in a second, Dempsey. So Saxo Grammaticus, 9th and 10th century, recorded the people of the people of the Danes, which is where the Norseman comes from, the story, and that eventually became Hamlet. And then the two books in the 12th century, but one by Snorri Sturluson, which was the poem poetic Edda, and then the other one which was the prose Edda, which were Christian. Snorri was a Christian poet and writer. They gathered the remnants of skaldic poetry and funerary writings, and one book, Snorri's book, was how to write that stuff, and the other one was a collection of it. And there was one other work I don't remember. Right, so that was the Christian recording of the Viking Age, their myths and their how they lived, and the other writing was by a Muslim scholar named Ahmad ibn Falnad. Um, he he was sent by the emir of something, and eventually that's the story that Michael Crichton based the 13th Warrior on. Okay, which is the original called Age of the Dead. So those are the only recorded physical writings from the Germanic lore at the time. Now, what happened in places like Sweden and Iceland and whatever, in the Middle Ages, the remnants of prior folk knowledge after Christianization had occurred still was circulating. So a whole bunch of medieval folklore arose, which eventually became like Swedish folklore and Finnish folklore and all that, which are not strictly speaking part of the original myth, because we don't know most of it. It was new stuff that arose after the Christianization, as the lay people kept their older beliefs became folklore, so to speak, right? But anyway, that's all me wonking out on this. So let's get to Mad Max, right? So Mortan Joe is an Odin espy, right? He's a berserk warrior. He commands the berserkers, those guys who jack themselves up on spray paint, basically. One of his kids has a big sort of hammer. That's Thor. He has an anger problem, right? You can see the sort of thing going for that, right? Furiosa, she's basically a daughter. She's a Valkyrie, right? So I want to see where Miller is taking this with Furiosa's story. And this is the thing I find is to understand George Miller's mindset. Yep, exactly. And because it's a myth, Dempsey. I mean, it's meant to be a myth. She can be just as superhuman as Max in her own movie. You know what I mean? So anyway, so here to get idea of Miller's mentality, right? Hemsworth reveals why George Miller cast ExCons and Hell's Angels in Furiosa. That's how George Miller works. He wants authenticity. He's going to go for the plot of Furiosa is that basically Chris Hemsworth plays. Here. Chris Hemsworth is about to be a very bad man, and he's very excited about it. Known for his work as heroic Thor and Marvel's on the MCU, we're seeing another dirtier, grimier, and vile side to him in George Miller's Furiosa, in which he plays the biker warlord Dementus. So he's going to be commanding a giant, like a Mad Max style giant biker gang, and Hemsworth's described as a violent, brutal person and a product of the wasteland, right? So I'll link. I will put I will update the description later to put these articles I reviewed down there, because it's very fascinating. But that's the type of mentality that Miller has. Here's some photos from this. Oh, you know what? I'm being dumb. There we go. So I will put this article down below. Let's look at some photos. And here's some photos from the set. And this is Furiosa's rise under a Mortan Joe. This is Furiosa's rise under a Mortan Joe, as one of his warriors, so to speak. I have one more article from. So this is saying Mad Max Furiosa release date podcast. Blah blah. Blah. We know. I love the imagery from this. The only thing I'm kind of sad about is that Charlize Theron is too old to play young Furiosa, because Charlize Theron, even though she's like 56 years old or whatever I think she is now, she's still a very attractive, incredible woman. I'm not going to do the trailer here because I think it would be it would get me demonetized, unfortunately. But here's some imagery, more imagery from it. We've seen some of these pictures. There's a Dementor staring down at Mortanjo. And it would mix now the analogy here with the biker gang traveling the wasteland and their brutal, hairy barbarians is Odin. That if the structure of Asgard was that Asgard surrounded the great tree Yggdrasil in the middle, and they would be set all around by the wasteland, right? And that's where the frost giants came from, the wild barbarian frost giants. So I believe this is again Odin leading Asgard logic against the barbarous frost giants who are trying to invade from the wasteland, the perimeter. Yeah. Oh, it's Odin trying to stave off Ragnarok. So that's pretty fascinating. Okay, so it's 3:21. Let's get the openings, the unboxings going here. Okay. So so I don't dox myself. I won't face the side out of the with my address on it. So it makes it more awkward to cut. But I'm not going to do this to everyone. But when you get these type of packages, take your knife, don't stab it, make it parallel, put just the point under, and slide. And it would don't that's all you do. And you flip. And you go up here. Some of these packages have to open both sides. This one, however, you don't. In other words, once you open up this side, the whole thing opens up. So let's see what's in here. Garbage. Opens up. Oh, flap open. Oh. There we go. Okay. Now, I should just wipe them out. Like, I'll do that on the next one. I will marker them out. Though, from a tech point of view, right? I hate saying this to people because it scares them. I mean, I'm on a VPN, right? But most people don't. If you don't VPN your home, you can find out where you live just by tracking someone through them broadcasting, like streaming and stuff. So that's how they do that swatting crap to people. Yeah. So anyway, let me get the pile without falling off my chair. Okay. So I recently started buying physical comic books again because I miss them. I want to read them and whatnot. And one of the things is, I'm missing certain issues. I can't read. I have issue 1, but then I have issue 3 or whatever. I need issue 2. So this shipment's going to fill a bunch of gaps, right? So what do I got here? This is issue number 2 of Transformers from the new right? From the new Image Transformers universe, right? Okay. Now I'm not gonna. Since I didn't open up this for quite a while, I will open up. I'll issue the other one before I open up. And the other issue is Antarctica number 5, which I just showed you Antarctica number 1, and then I'm missing Antarctica number 2, which is in one of those boxes. So I'll be able to issue issues 1 through 5. Antarctica is a horror comic book, a sci-fi horror comic book. When I get to, I'll open up number 5, and so I'll go about number 2. Quality check. It has good quality in paper construction. Spine seems good. It doesn't want to bend when I hit a spine check. If you do this, hold the book so you'll actually break it. If you put your finger on the spine and lift, and it doesn't bend around your finger, it means the construction in the spine is good. So now, why am I saying that? Well, this is a $4 comic book. So if you're paying $4 for something, you better have a good construction. Right? Paper quality. Yeah, the paper quality seems good. And the artwork, of course, let's take a look at a couple of inside panels. This is the quality of the artwork. I enjoyed the first issue, but like any first issue, you gotta see where the story goes. But I'm enjoying the Transformers universe that is unfolding under Kirkman's guide under Image right now. And that is, I'll find. So that's Transformer. Now I have my Transformers number 2. The main Transformers title is called Void Rivals. It's being written by Kirkman, and this is a spin-off of that. So that's that. That's the little one-pot package. Yeah. So we'll get to the. Now we'll do the big. Now before I dox myself. There we go. Should be good enough. So we'll do the same thing again. This time I scribbled over it. Start with a knife. I don't have to show you everything. Be psychotic about it. This one has way more comics in it. So what do we got? This is a free comic book. I don't know what it's about, but the reason I'm interested in it is because it looks like Mike Oeming might be in there. Can't you see his name? Mike Oeming wrote, "Oh, hey, Salty. Hi, welcome to the show. I'm doing my comic unboxing right now. At the beginning, I had just talked about, some Mad Max Furiosa stuff, and then we were talking about Norse mythology for like 10 minutes, waiting for people. Mike Oeming wrote one of my favorite Thor sagas. It's called the Ragnarok Cycle. It's the last issues of Thor Volume 2, circa 2001, 2002. It was part of Avengers Disassembled. I'll dig it up and review it maybe next week or something. But it's a great. It's Dempsey. We were talking about Norse mythology. If you can get the trade paperback for Mike Oeming's Ragnarok Saga, if you've never read it, it's a great comic book. So, okay. So now there's another I guess you would say comic universe. There was a video game that came out in like 2016 called Bloodborne. It was on the PS4. Hey, Jacob, welcome to the show. We're in the middle of the comic unboxings, Jacob. Earlier in the show, I started with talking about Norse mythology and Mad Max Fury Road and the tie-ins, right? Anyway, so PS4 came out with a Bloodborne video game, which has spun a whole universe of comics. I'm reading one other series called Bloodborne. Let me find it. There we go. So I'm reading currently Bloodborne: The Bleak Dominion, right? And I found another series called Bloodborne: The Lady of Lanterns, which this is about a mystical city, to keep it simple, right? Now I'm still missing the first issue, like anything, but that's how it goes. Let's take a look at the inside work here. I'll open up issue number 2. You may know as a theme I like horror comic books. I do like other stuff like superhero and all that, but for some reason I've been able to find a lot of good horror miniseries lately. So the quality on this company's books, this is from Titan Comics, same people making Conan, um, are excellent. You're paying. This is a $4 book. For a $4 book, this is better quality than the $4 image book. I mean, you could hear. I don't know if you could hear that. That means every page is glossy, right? And then the spine. You can hold this by the spine. The spine doesn't even have a chance of bending, and it protects itself this way, right? I'll even hold it rigid so I can't look, and the spine still stays straight. It's amazing quality book for $4, right? So let's take a look at some inside artwork. Right. And I'll go to the center. There we go. Right. And the artist on this, well, let's see who our artist is. Artwork is Piotr Kowalski and written by Colin Bunn. But the art, to me, the story looks good, you know. What else? We have some other comics in the in that package. We have now you may notice a theme on these other 3 comics I got in that package. You may notice it. Okay. This is Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, #3 from IDW. Okay. And this is Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, #4 from IDW. And this is Godzilla. Where is it? Oh. Godzilla War for Humanity, #2 from IDW. Now, you may notice the one modern comic thing I really despise, really truly despise, is this propensity to make 7 different covers, right? I could see having 1 main and 2 side covers or whatever. That's kind of, especially for limited run books, But like when I go to online, I'm seeing 6 or 7 different covers, and sometimes they're coming out with covers 3 months later for issues that are already done. Yeah, so which really means they're second printings, by the way. This is Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons 2, 3, and 4. The 2. So I already showed. Let's take a look at Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons #3. By the way, these first 2 packages were from Things from Another World Comics. I'll show you their website at the end. Now this is IDW, right? Not as good a quality. A $4 book, right? So this is a $4 book I just showed you from Bloodborne from Titan. Excellent for $4. This is not a $4. This to me is more of a $2 to $3 book. Yeah. But the artwork is pretty good. Here's a picture of Godzilla rising from the sea, man, right? And who are our artists here? We have Anaki Miranda is an artist, and Frank Thierry is a writer. Right? Now, I'm a big Godzilla fan. Lord of the Rings is my favorite legendarium, or the Tolkien legendarium, which was part of it is my favorite. After that, like on tier 2, is going to be stuff like, Godzilla, Kaiju in general, Naruto, the $6 Million Man. It's like a bunch of stuff like that. So. And the other series was Godzilla War for Humanity. Well, I'll show you one. I'll show you that. Here's the cover. Right. This has distinctly different artwork. Very psychedelic looking. Later, Salty. Thanks for showing up. And this artwork reminds me, in a lot of ways, of the guy of like the actual original '60s style, which I think they were going for. Let's look at our team. So we have written by Andrew McLean, artwork by Jake Smith, and so whereas Godzilla Here There Be Dragons had a more mature, modern art sense, this would look like a throwback to the '60s style of movie Godzilla, which I'm cool with. Okay. Now this last package, let me, blank it out so I don't dox myself as I did before. You know what? I'm going to be careful. I'll do it below screen. Now this is a different style of package. So you would open this style of package along the edge, which is more of a danger to the book than that is, so be real careful. But it's the same sort of principle. Stick your knife in the edge and just trace. Oh, this is my Decepticon knife. I don't know if you can see the workings, but this is Decepticon symbol basically and coloring on this knife. So I got this from tell you a second. I ordered this from Ron's Comic Closet on eBay, and he did. Oh, I like what this guy did. He has the hardback and then secures it with tape, so it can't wobble around in there, right? Now I'm betting he did this because these aren't going to be bagged and boarded. Well, they are bagged and boarded. Okay. Okay. A lot of packaging. But look what he did. He secured them in a plastic bag, right? Then they're all individually bagged and boarded, which is cool. And he put the backer board on both sides out. So I really love that. Actually, furthermore, what he did is he put them, so he protected the comics the maximum you could possibly do with an even number of comic books in his packaging. So what do I got? Well, I told you I was looking for Antarctica number 2. So I'll show off Antarctica number 2. So this is from Top Cow. This is a Top Cow doesn't have the price on the cover, but Image. So this will be a $4 book. Again, Image, $4 construction. Yeah, whatever. But here's some internal shots of the artwork. A lot of black background. I wish that one artistic quality is it makes it hard to see, but there you go. And who's our team? Simon Burks is the writer. Willie Roberts is our artist. Lyndon Wright does our letters. So, sci-fi horror comic. I only read the first issue so far. I have to read again. Now I have the second, so I'll read 1 through 5 in one shot. Very enthused about that. Missing. Oh, here it is. Finally, I got Kong Great War #1, another kaiju comic book. Okay, so I have 2 and 3 in the pile. I'll show you #1. Cover. This is Dynamite Comics. This is a $4 comic book. And still, Titan, of all the comic books I've been buying in modern times, Titan Comics has the best construction of book per dollar. So this is probably a $4 book, and I don't think I think it's more of a $3 book. Some interior artwork examples. By the way, yes, I admit I'm a bit of a hound dog. Dynamite does great fan service. There's a little fan service character there. Elvira and Lady Hell advertising. We have Vampirella, another female fan service character. Betty Page, your World War II your World War II pinup girl, Betty Page. We're going to put a comic book out about her. It looks like. Yeah. But Kong Great War is obviously about Kong. I'm not sure if it's set in the MonsterVerse or not. I'll find it out. I'll give you. I'll let you guys know. Well, and here's something I found by accident. The name of the comic alone. When I saw the name of this comic book, I was like, I am gonna like that. This is a supernatural possession, obviously, horror comic. My understanding is that it's from a priest or someone else who is possessed, and the devil that wears my face. In other words, the experience of being possessed and the horror of it and all that. So I've never even seen a movie that went for this perspective, to be honest. Okay. So now we're getting a comic. It's from Mad Cave Publishing. Oh my God. Now this is a $5 book. It's not focusing. Focus. There you go. Now for $5, paper quality. This is heavy paper. This is as good as Titan. The spine doesn't even bend. Like I'm just waiting. Like I'm moving. This isn't for $5. This is, you could hear it. I think I love the construction of this. Right. Here's the back cover. Right. Now let's take a look in the inside. Is the internal artwork. I like the layout. The only thing I don't like about it, I wish they'd use a different color than black as the border color. Maybe like a really dark gray or something. Because all the shadows in the art, it makes you lose emphasis on the deliberate shadowing in the artwork. Another page. Yep. And who's our team? David Pepose is our writer. Alex Cormack, who we've seen something else in that pile, by the way, is our artist. Okay. And he's the colorist. Okay. So when I saw this and I was looking through, just looking for, how do I put it? Like a comic review or whatever. And I saw the title of that man. I was on it like like ants on sugar or ants on salt, I should say, sugar. So that's my comic experience for the week. Just trying to get these in order so I can pile them up again. So, by the way, Wakizashi's Tea House, he did a review of. For those of you who never saw the original Fire and Ice in the 80s, it's a great fantasy movie. This is a sequel to that, or a prequel. I have something to figure that out. But it's being done by Bill Willingham, Fairy Tale, and Manco. I don't remember Manco's first name. And the first issue came out like in September. The second issue finally came out. So my next box of comics that should be here hopefully next week or the week after. Yeah. So the second issue is out now. So if you go to your comic store, I'll show you online my online comics my online comic book store right as soon as I finish piling these up. But Gray did Wakizashi's Tea House is Gray. He did a review of the issue 2 of it and issue 1, so it's worth it is worth checking that out. Okay. And one more to sort. I don't know about that. I think they're both equally good. I wouldn't say I don't think we need to have a competition. You know what I mean? Okay, so mess of comic books cleared up. Before I go back to the articles, I will show off my my comic book store that I go to. So this is my online comic book store. Things from Another World. And like anything, like if I wanted to find Antarctica, if I spelt it correctly. So I could hit that. And this would be anything they have in stock of they'll show you if it's a pre-order or if it's a current order, And I the only thing I don't like is that their website is a little slow and clunky. But you can do subscriptions through them. You can search via brand. Like if you just go to they have manga, they have comics, they have everything. They have the sort. I wish they'd clean up their sorting algorithm, their website's interface. That's the only thing I wish. But this is the main place I go to. And then there was this guy. This is where I got that last package, was Ron's Comic Closet, which was pretty good. So I'm guessing he's a local store that has his stuff online. Perfectly fine. So. Okay. So now that we've talked the comics, any questions? Yeah, Dempsey, I missed that. I mean, I'm disabled. And, I have a medical problem that makes getting out of my apartment and into it and walking for more than 20 minutes at a time really difficult. I wish I could still go to comic stores and movies and stuff like that. I'm going to try to have some surgery in 2024, which may change that. So we'll see. But so we can close that tab. So let's talk about the articles I picked ahead of time. Don't need that anymore. Don't Okay, so let's go with an easy one first. So we all know about essentially Netflix's horrible woke adaptations like Cowboy Bebop, and I think they did another horrible one. I don't remember anymore. Yeah. But then they came out with One Piece, which was, now I'm not a One Piece fan. I never got into the manga, therefore I never got the anime. Therefore, I'm not watching the adaptation. Okay, but I respect it as an anime product, a manga product, and apparently it's very well done. And the reason it was well done, from what I understand, is the original the dude who Ito, I think his name is Ito, who owns One Piece, the writer and creator, has complete control over the series, and they kept trying to wokeify it and change gender swap people, and he was like, nope, keep it the same. No romance in it. There's no romance in this. He by design he has no romance in it, right? So you had one or two good examples like that, and 7 or 10 or 15 bad examples of adaptation from Netflix, for example. So then I hear Yu Yu Hakusho. Now Yu Yu Hakusho is one of the signature shonen manga anime ever, right? Like every couple years, another one comes along. Like there was Dragon for a long time ago. There was Fist of the North Star, which is legendary. Then maybe you have Dragon Ball. Then you Yu Yu Hakusho. Then you move forward to the Naruto and Bleach and so forth. And Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorite animes, right? And so when they said they were doing an adaptation of it, I was like, oh God, no. Oh God, no. But then I looked at the trailer, and I will play some of this trailer. I'll mute that. So, well, I'm going to unmute it briefly. Hear them talking Japanese? This tells me this is not actually a Netflix adaptation. This tells me that this is actually a Japanese adaptation that Netflix paid for, which means it's not being done. It's very quite probably not going to be woke. When I look at this, the characters look for the most part like their characters, right? And I said, by the way, I don't think he's here, but I talk a little Naruto lore on this stream as a follow up to AJ's stream, right? Oh, you know what? You guys didn't even see it. So it's just the trailer. Let's play it again. That's not what I wanted to share. Why is... Man, I hate it when YouTube decides to show you what they want to show instead of what you want to see. So let's do that again. There we go. So now you guys can hear this. You hear them speaking in Japanese, what I mentioned before. So this, like I said, I'm very quite possibly enthused about that, right? So let's go back here. This is the one. Okay, so this is the one I wanted to show now, and this will be some Naruto lore. So you saw the name Kurama or Kurama. Kurama is probably more well known as the name of the nine-tailed fox in Naruto, right? But Kishimoto, remember I said they're a legendary shonen series? Kishimoto, some of his favorite anime and manga was Dragon Ball, but one of his second or third favorite was Yu Yu Hakusho. So the nine-tailed fox in Naruto is an homage to the character, the fox, half fox prince demon Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho. Kishimoto is probably the best at pulling stuff in from all different sources for his work. He's an amazing guy. And look, let's go back. Like when I think of the anime for this and how they fight, this looks like how they fight in the anime, and therefore the manga. So I'm enthused about the Yu Yu Hakusho, which should be dropping. We'll talk about that now. In Netflix, here we go. Netflix will be releasing around the world December 14th, so next week. And they're saying it's going to be a different story. than seeing the anime or the manga. So what I'm guessing is that the Japanese people went back to the source, and instead of doing a half-assed adaptation of like saying, okay, let's just ape what happened in the manga or ape what happened in the anime. Let's take the story elements, which involves a spirit detective, Yu Hakesho, who dies, becomes a spirit who is assigned by the Lord of the Underworld to hunt down escaping demons and whatever. There's a background for that. He meets some other characters like Kurama, the demon fox, half demon fox prince, and a couple other characters, and he gets trained by the legendary Genkai in mastering his psychic powers. Um, so it sounds a little simple, but so I'm guessing they took the core of it and made an actual TV show, because in Japan they actually make a good effort at this stuff, and I'm crossing my fingers because it came from Japan that it's going to be good. You know, so let's go to our next article. So I want to talk about this, okay? The Doctor Who crap that's been going on. Now, yeah, I know they're working on one, Dempsey. Um, well, there is a Bleach anime Japanese movie, a live action Bleach anime, and it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So, uh, they only made one of. They never made a sequel. It's worth watching once, right? So what they've been doing to Doctor Who and what they continue to doing it is horrible. Doctor Who ended when Peter Capaldi left the show. That's when Doctor Who ended, and Doctor Jodie and fake Tennant. Yeah, oh, you saw it, Dempsey? Yeah. So yeah, it was yeah, it was more like speed running season one. It's the best way to put it. They were just cutting straight through it. You know, but again, that's because they made a movie, not a TV show. Anyway, I do want to point out one thing about the special from last week, and that the Blue Yonder had potential to be a really good episode if they had kept the woke elements out and toned down the humor a little bit. Right? It could have been a really good. It almost felt like it could have been a throwback episode to the traditional horror of the 70s and early 80s. Right? But I want to focus on one particular thing. Right? Um, there's a phenomenon I call woke reactionary syndrome. So in other words, we're all this horrible woke crap that's going on. Um, that's making us all hate our legendariums and fandoms now. It got us so wired up that a when we see any sort of like female character or a change or whatever, that's bait is a very good point. I don't know if you're going to catch what I'm talking about, Dempsey. I'm focusing on something that people are complaining about, what they shouldn't be. The actor who plays Isaac Newton here, leaving aside the fact they attempt to gayify him, I believe, from his behavior, people are complaining he's not English, he's not white. What really means to complain he's not white. This actor is of mixed race. His mother is native-born English. Okay, so he's an Englishman. He is half Indian, half English. The Indians are also tied very well into British culture, but that's not the point I'm making. So when we see a character appear, we have to an actor playing them. We really need to gut check that anti woke reaction to make sure we're not making fools of ourselves, because this guy is has full native born English mother, and in my view, if we're going to go by this, oh, you have to be the same ethnicity or whatever to play a role, which I don't agree with. He's entitled to play the character. His mother's English, native born English. Okay. Um, I mean, his name is actually Nathaniel Curtis. Although the stupid woke article goes, that's not a woke article, goes as portrayed by half Indian actor Nathaniel Curtis and half English actor Nathaniel Curtis. Bounding in the comments, I expected better of them. They should have pointed out both of the ethnicities on this issue. So we got to watch our reactionaryism to this. Well, not exactly. See, it's a little different. What Elon and Shaka. Well, no, there's Shaka Zulus from way north of Africa. Elon is of European descent in South Africa. Elon has no native blood, so to speak, right? But let's say a half white, half South African, native South African guy were playing a South African character who is black or white, right? They have the heritage to do it. I'm not. I don't cotton to the idea that you have to have a character matching up with the actor, so to speak. Hey pops, hope you heard all the. I went over a whole bunch of comic book stuff, pops. I hope you caught all that. Um, Pops is the guy who found this place for me, by the way. Ron's Comic Closet. He's the man who found it for me. So he deserves some credit for that. You know. Uh, yeah, true, Jacob. He doesn't look. I mean, but the point I'm getting at is we should not we should respond to the actor's performance, which I think was bad, even for the limited amount it was, but not to his, wokeification, because his guy's half English. That's the reality of it. You know what I mean? And we got to be careful we don't have woke reactionary syndrome, as I call it. So otherwise, this was all went well beyond it, where they basically made the Doctor bisexual, um, and was bad. And then they did the same thing that moron Taika Waititi did with Thor Ragnarok. I refuse to watch uh, Blubber and Blunder or whatever that movie was called. But all the stupid humor they put in, they put way too much humor in. There's supposed to be a legitimate fear factor from the Doctor and Donna being afraid of these creatures. They even bring it up in the episode, but you spend half the time with the audience laughing, not getting afraid with the Doctor and Donna, with the fear effect of the creatures chasing them and being horrible looking. So, yeah, thanks, pops. They really need to like, if they were intending to do this writing, they didn't have the woke elements, the writing would have been bad enough to make it lose its effectiveness. Right? So let me go to my next article. Oh, you might hear a little bit of a rant on this one. So, I will not purchase any Marvel comics. I have been boycotting Marvel comics since 2007, essentially. Not even because of the woke stuff, because of the One More Day, Brand New Day story. I'm sure Pops knows what it is. I've talked to him about it. It is the most despicable storyline. I mean, like sort of like some really heinous stuff you can find in some strange comic books. This storyline is despicable. Okay, Joe Quesada, Peter David, and JMS have been writing the predominant writer of Spider-Man for about 2 or 3 years at this point, and they were writing. Peter Parker was married, been married for a long time. Some writers have done well with the marriage, some haven't. Some just ignore it and just But JMS and Peter David, who are two of the best comic book writers of the year of all time. JMS writing Amazing Spider-Man, Peter David was writing The Spectacular Spider-Man, and a new writer. I can't remember his name. He's a Latino guy. Because I stopped reading Marvel comics afterwards, so I don't remember. That's why I don't remember his name. He was doing a good job on Web of Spider-Man, but he was brand new. So, and the Spider Marriage, as we called it, they were writing a really good marriage. Mary Jane was supportive in what she had to be, but also confrontational when Peter was ignoring, wasn't being a good husband, and like helping him balance superhero life and the married life and all that. Mary Jane was her own independent character. She was a model, an actress, an entrepreneur. Peter, they matured Peter as a character. He was becoming an entrepreneur and a scientist and an inventor. Like he was basically Tony Stark's protege. I like that angle, right? He's becoming a leader among the heroes, which would have made space for a new, younger generation of heroes that he could have mentored. But we had seen Peter as the young character maturing for a long time, right? But Joe Quesada, who apparently has no imagination, decided he hated the Spider marriage and wanted to get rid of it and wanted Peter Parker single and living in Aunt May's basement, even though he was a 25-year-old with a PhD in physics, working as a photographer. Joe knows best Quesada, as some people would call him, or a lot of call him Joe Jerkoff, Joe Quesada. To this day, I despise him. So what was the storyline? Well, Peter's identity had been revealed in the Civil War arc, which I thought was stupid. I used to love Mark Miller as a writer until Civil War, and then I can't stand Civil War. But his identity got outed, right? And then how do I put it? Just checking my work. Yeah, okay, that's my neighbor. So that's my neighbor's daughter, the one who's in the hospital. I gotta help them out later. Um, anyway, so they had revealed Spider-Man's secret identity as part of Civil War and all the shenanigans that were going on with that. And then Joe Quesada decided they wanted to get rid of the marriage and put the identity back in the basket. Now, JMS, who is one of the great writers in general of all time, Babylon 5 JMS, Real Ghostbusters JMS, so on and so forth, wrote writing the first. He wrote the first 6 or 7 issues of Thor's Volume 3, which were great. That's a whole other story. Basically, JMS's treatment by Joe Quesada in terms of his Amazing Spider-Man run and his Thor run was why he left Marvel. He quit Marvel Comics completely and walked away from them. JMS had suggested, okay, here's what we can do that make it a great storyline. We could use a time travel arc that goes back to Peter never meeting Mary Jane, and therefore never certain things don't happen. And because Mary Jane was part of how he became involved with the Avengers and Tony Stark, which led to the reveal, right? So we can kind of put everything back in the bottle by changing some significant elements of. Anyway, Dempsey, to me, going back to talking about the Doctor Who thing. I'm of the view that as long as you get a great actor and you're not in an adaptation, right? As long as you're not an original work, you have a great actor. And you say up front, we're not changing. Like if they had gotten, I don't know, Idris Elba to play Aragorn, for example, in Lord of the Rings, right? And they said we're not saying any of the Numenorians are black. We'd have a great actor to play him. Prep the audience with suspension of disbelief. I'm not saying I want the Idris Elba to play Aragorn. I'm just saying, as a hypothetical example, I'm okay. My imagination is good enough that as long as the actor is great, I can roll with it. In an adaptation, right? When they want to, unlike what say Rings of Prime is doing, where they're trying to say there were black Numenorians and there were black elves, there were black dwarves, but then if you follow Tolkien, but they're basically saying Tolkien was a racist because Tolkien would then have to kill off all the black hobbits, dwarves, elves, and men. They would have all had to. Okay, and they would have had to. What do you call it? They would have had to genocide essentially all of the black characters. So they were basically trying to make Tolkien not to be a racist by saying, in any case, back to the storyline here. Because I don't want to be late. I don't want to go for 2 hours. So in this storyline, to get JMS, a great writer, of course, was Joe Quesada said, no, we're not going to do it your way. We're going to do it. We're going to do it this way. We're going to have Aunt May be, killed, shot or something like that, and we're going to have it so none of the super technology and none of the magic at all work at all on her. No. Spider-Man, all Spider-Man superhero friends are going to say, no, we're not going to help you, bro. You're going to die. What we're going to do, what we're going to actually do is have Mephisto, one of the most evil characters in existence, offer to trade the love of their marriage and therefore the memories of it. Well, the memory of Peter, because Mary Jane remembered the marriage, Peter didn't. In return for healing Aunt May. And Peter, of course, being responsible, said, no, I'm not going to give Mephisto, all that power, right? But then Mary Jane gets character assassinated, and she makes a deal with Mephisto. So that was all one more day, brand new day. And I dropped it. I literally dropped the book. And I still own it. I didn't burn it, but I canceled my subscriptions to Marvel Comics. And I will not pay for the only Marvel comic book I have paid for since then was the Darth Vader series digitally that came out 5 or 6 years ago. For Disney Star Wars, it was a decent series, Anyway, but I won't pay. And then what is this about? Well, apparently they're trying to the nostalgia bait us back in. Yep, that's the big problem there, Jacob. When it only goes one way, uh, they're trying to nostalgia bait us back in by having an alternate universe Peter Parker and Mary Jane who are still married with kids. But this is double nostalgia bait because there was another character that got nuked out of existence called Mayday Parker, an alternate universe daughter of Peter Parker. In that alternate reality, when he lost his leg, she grew up and she inherited the powers and she became Spider Girl. And fans love that character too. So they're going to bring, not only are they bringing um, the marriage back in this alternate universe title, they're going to bring back Mayday Parker as a daughter. And so they're trying to sucker us in with this alternate universe title. Um, it disgusts me. It's just I get more. I nostalgia bait can be okay, but Marvel's behavior with this character disgusts me. You know, so I would urge people not to buy it ever. You know, just what else do I got? Oh, a little quick review here. Okay. So we know that Godzilla -1 is out. I have not been able to see it yet due to my disability. I would have to, sail the high seas, so to speak. Um, this is a cool article from Blade Disgusting. I'm not going to go over all of them. I will just go to the top 5. This, by the way, Godzilla: All Out Monsters Attack, is oftentimes one of the first Godzilla films many people my age have ever seen. Just so you're curious. I'm just going to talk about their top 5 and what I would change. So their number 1 is Gojira, which is the Japanese film, and Godzilla, which is 1956, the American version. Okay, they're both great movies, and I rank them as number 1 as well. They put Godzilla vs. Destroy as number 2. This is more like number 10 to me. Shin Godzilla, again, not a top 5er, but maybe even 10 to 15. I haven't seen Godzilla -1 yet, so I can't rank it. And while I like Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, not a top 5 or 10. So what are my 5 favorite Godzilla films? Well, number 1 is, of course, Gojira and Godzilla, both of them equally. Number 2, the numbers 2 through 5, here's Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monster All Attack. This is an underrated Godzilla film. It's an evil Godzilla film, and it's an amazing movie. Then, of course, a lot of this is probably number 6 or 7, Destroy All Monsters. Then, of course, classic Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. I love that movie. That's number 2 for me. Then you go back to Terror of Mechagodzilla. That's number 4. And number 3 is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. You may notice a theme there. I love Mechagodzilla. I will, after I get this together, I will link all these articles below so you can go read them all. Basically. But this is a cool list. You all want to read it. It's a cool list. And Godzilla Final Wars, that's my number 5. So that my 1 through 5 is, there you go. Sorry about that, guys. What else we got? I have one more article. Actually, I have 2, which is another Godzilla article. Sorry, guys. So Dean Devlin, Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, Independence Day, they made the horrible 1998 Godzilla film that most of us called Gino. Says how would he fix the problem? So I'll keep it simple. He realized 15 years later that making Godzilla just a giant animal was horrible. Godzilla has to be a good guy or a bad guy. And that was probably the second worst problem in the film. So I will leave this article for you to peruse. And I like to have one science article in here, just to. Right? This to me is fascinating. Did it come up? Yeah, here you go. So this is a chemist who thinks robot chemists could create oxygen needed for colonizing Mars. So basically, his idea, which I will link this article, is that if you take these micro robots and give them AI, they can go to Mars and act as sort of artificial plant life and turn all the trapped carbon dioxide into oxygen, initially for storage in canisters, eventually to release into the atmosphere. And humans might take hundreds and hundreds of years to do that, whereas you just seed the planet with these robots, it could do that in a generation, which is a pretty fascinating idea. And the reason you would need AI is because Mars is 8 seconds away or 8 minutes. It's 8 seconds or 8 minutes away by communications at the speed of light. So you would not be able to manage this in real time. And Mars is something we should definitely work on just as survival of species. I'll link this one down below. I don't want to run too long. I've been over an hour. I'll try to keep to an hour and 15 minutes. I do like to take any questions from the audience, or do you have any articles? What I do is I will look for one or two random articles, talk about why, see if you have questions or suggestions we talk about for the next 5 or 10 minutes. So let's go and look and see if we can find a random article or two just to be spontaneous. Let's try our friend Bounty in the comics. I don't want to do politics. Okay, let's go here. I don't like Bounty in the comics change, by the way. So, a rumor Marvel recast trio of classic Avengers following the franchise's soft reboot in Secret Wars. I'm okay with that conceptually, only because the actors are getting older. Hey, Mr. Dempsey, how you doing? I just wish they wouldn't do this until after Bob Iger and the Disney board change, when they get Proxy Ward out of existence by Peltz, so we can then fire Kevin Feige and stop all this woke crap. But that's my take on this. See if we can find anything else. Cosmic Book News. I'm not going to talk about it, but not surprised. I'm trying to look for positive stuff. Let's go down a giant freaking robot. Let's see. Is this the best TV moment of all time in Star Trek administration? Let's see what they're saying. So on June 18th, 1990, which is older than some of you have been alive, fans got to see the Next Generation episode, The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1. Not only is it a perfect TV moment, but as a viewer will explain, it's a perfect way to bring your friend and family into Star Trek The Next Generation fandom.
Come cheer up, my lads.
So this is the episode. This is basically the Borgs, when the Borg attacked and we had Locutus of Borg. I don't know if that's the best. So, yeah, okay. I guess they're talking when Picard appeared on screen as Locutus. Is that the best TV moment of all time? I don't know. But it is, because it's not even the best. It's not even the best Next Generation episode. To me, that's Darmok. But whatever. It is a stark moment, though. I'll give you that. One more article. If anyone has any questions or suggestions, we'll do one more article and then call it for the day. Try Movieweb. Well, this isn't the article, but just I'll mention because it's out. Studio Ghibli has another anime movie out, The Boy and the Heron, which is based on a folktale. I would suggest you all go watch it because Studio Ghibli tends to make some of the best anime movies. Redanian, what's Redanian got? Still talking House of the Dragon. Let's screen read. Got going. Okay, so this is about Dune 3, which will be the adaptation of Dune Messiah. Villeneuve provides an update on Dune 3, saying the script is almost finished but not completely ready. So, okay, so it means he's gotten a lot of work. He's moving ahead with it. That they probably authorized it already. Okay, we're good there. Not a lot to talk about on that one. Let's take a shot at some music news. Oh wow, so this one. So I'm a big metal and hard rock fan, and one of the things that kills me about my disability is I can't really go to concerts anymore. So I've missed a couple of farewell tours, and now I'm missing Sepultura's last. Now Sepultura is not the same since Matt Caballero left years ago, but they're still a pretty good band even without him. And Caballero's independent product is good, but I hate missing last chance to see a band that they're a good band. I enjoy a lot of their songs. Okay, one more music. Any suggestions by anyone? Any questions you want? Oh, I will. Okay, I said I'd talk some Naruto. I don't know if AJ is listening. Uh, Anything here to talk about? Okay, so just to do briefly following up to the Naruto conversation that was on AJ's talk. Um, I love Naruto. I did my video. Actually, I can share that, I guess. But let's take a look. So my video for why Boruto sucks has 118 views, and uh, aside of some wrestling reactions I've done, which I'll probably do some more, it's like it's in my top 10 most viewed videos. So, and that's in like 3 days. My why Boruto sucks thing has gone fairly well spread. Um, AJ had brought up I was trying to explain the plot to Naruto to him in like chat, which doesn't work. But I know I can't. I'll talk about Naruto for 2 minutes. Isn't gonna work. I don't want to extend this show by an hour. Um, I probably should do a live show talking about Naruto, getting some people on to talk about it with. So maybe I'll do that. I'll try to put together. I'll get a couple of us in the fandom together who have seen Naruto, want to talk about it. You know. Um. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I am gonna go eat some food and read some comic books. Um, Pops, if you missed it early on, you can go back and review, obviously, but I will show off what I ordered briefly for Pops. I've heard about it, but I have not seen it. I usually watch trailers on the weekend. So Pops, this is the main comic book. This was the main reason I had to help me out to find this series. But if you want to, if you didn't catch, if you want to go back and I do show up panels from the inside and all that. So I'll probably read those first two issues. It's a 4 or 6 issue miniseries. Man, it feels good to actually have physical comic books coming into the house again, even if they're expensive as hell now. Let me Masters. Now, I heard about Masters of Air. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's a World War II. That's why, World War II. Yep. I'll do a trailer reaction to it maybe tomorrow, Dempsey. Jacob, rather. Anyway, guys, it's almost at 4:30. My name is Matt. This has been Unbearable 73, the Crown Prince of Fandemonia, the Prince of Fandom comment. If you don't know where the reference I'm getting that from is, another week of Friday Fandemonium is complete. If you enjoyed it, please share. Have any questions, ask below. I will remember to update the description later with all the links I put so you can read them if you want. But I am hungry. I want to go. Have a great weekend, guys. This is Matt, the Crown Prince of Fandemonia over on Unbearable 73. If I could find the button to log out, I would, but I can't because I have 16,000 windows on screen. I am out of here.